have watched enough neighbor wars and seen how these disputes can get out of hand. And when you use words like ancillary, you asking for beef. You asking for beef. Because you know what? They read that and said, you know what? I don't know what that word means, but I'm going to take it as a sign of disrespect. Because you throw an ancillary on me, I'll be like, oh, she want to go. She want to tussle.
So I'd like to talk about a few things, Jemele. We both have teams in the tournament. Congratulations to Michigan State and the men making it to the Sweet 16. Are they in Sweet 16?
We are in the Sweet 16. We play UConn.
Oh, yeah,
this week on Friday.
I'll get spanked, but that's going to be a big game.
No, we are not. First of all, America will be rooting for us to beat UConn. Why? Because nobody likes Dan Hurley. That's why.
You know, it's so interesting. Did you see that? Did you see it was a headline. It was called the D-Head playoffs because Mike Cronin and Dan Hurley are so intense. I sent that to you, I think.
You did.
They're both very dramatic on the sidelines. And they were like,
you try to be nice because your coach is
he's intense and I like it. He wants to make sure that we're winning. And so I appreciate him in every possible way. They beat us really, really well. We hung in there like the first half, but they ended that for us. But my ladies are going to do well, right? We've already talked about that. You have them in your Final Four, right? In your bracket?
I do. Of course I do. Mm-hmm. Of course I do. Unofficially, because I haven't filled out a bracket in a very long time.
Okay. I'm feeling good too. I just don't want, I'm going to take one game at a time like Coach told us to do. Remember when she came on the show? One game at a time. There's no need to get too exciting. But so Chuck was saying, Charles Barkley, who's doing coverage for Sweet 16, for the tournament, was talking about the head coach over at High Point University. And he said, if he doesn't motivate you, then you shouldn't be playing sport. This was their High Point University is how far away from Raleigh? You were in that region.
It's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
So I like the coach. I love that they were the Cinderella story. They beat Arkansas. No, they lost to Arkansas. Who did they beat in the first round? Wisconsin, the very first round. So they made it to the second round, which is the first time in program history, and they lost to Arkansas. But I thought I started Googling the university for whatever reasons, and I'm getting cold. I need everyone to look up High Point University. Okay. This university, by Princeton Review, has been considered the best run university. So they have this commercial out. It was on Yahoo Sports the other day about what this school offers. So I'm just gonna go back to this little and I think I sent this to you, Jay. They have on campus a 5-star steak restaurant so students can learn how to eat with etiquette. And if you don't like steak, there's a Mediterranean restaurant that is of the same variety, a 5-star.
Okay, you got options. You have options.
I love this. And then they have an ice cream truck just going around campus all day long for free, giving students ice cream if, in fact, they need it. But then...
Okay, because so far it's not giving cult, it's giving greatness. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, it's considered the best run university. But listen, where's all this money coming from? Because they also built a plane, like a fake simulator of a plane, so that the students can learn how to network if they are on a plane sitting next to someone of importance. That's like a class, a networking class. And then you go into this fake plane and they simulate situations in which you are sitting next to someone of note or someone who could possibly help you, or maybe you're just making conversation. They're giving you real life skills. Nothing's wrong with that. But I'm like, think of that. The school is giving out life skills. They're teaching you how to do your taxes. They're teaching you how to function. Novel idea. Yeah. I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, and you called it a cult. See, this sounds useful.
It is very useful, but where is all this money coming from? Case in point, did you see the arena in which they play in, the basketball team?
Yeah, it's a very nice arena.
It's marble encrusted. It's better than
better than a lot of professional.
Yeah, it's like $107 million facility, and I'm like, and I do a little more digging. And then
you were really getting your investigative reporter on with this.
Well, because I'm like, am I jealous or do I think there's some type of Ponzi scheme behind this situation? And I think you alluded to that earlier because now they chartered a flight to take students to the tournament. I've never heard of such a thing. For free.
Wait, the student body?
Yeah, not all of them, but not a majority
of people. But a good percentage of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's insane, no? Is that weird or is it just me?
That is just maybe we're just not used to
What's going
universities.
on now?
Yeah, like actually sort of investing this much in their students to some degree. You know, but this flies in the face of what we usually think about when it comes to Cinderella teams. Generally speaking,
Right.
there's smaller universities. There are some the little engine that could. Typically, they don't have some wealthy donor base that a lot of the big schools have. So when this started to come out during little tidbits during the broadcast, like when I was listening, they were mentioning like a couple little facts. In fact, I don't remember who was the broadcasting team, but they mentioned the networking class, and that got me interested. And I'm like, a networking class?
It's
So I went
smart.
on, yeah, which is smart to do, especially nowadays because you know, Cari, you and I interact with young people enough, and one thing that I notice with young people is that they're very socially awkward.
Well,
and
social media. And
yeah, they're very social because social
scrolling.
media, on top of dealing with COVID, which kept people even more isolated. So a lot of young people don't know how to talk to people or make chit chat or network. And networking,
what is chit chat?
Well, it's what we do here, Cari. It's like we chit chat a little before we get into sort of the meat, before we get into the steakhouse of the podcast. But
well played.
Yeah,
well
but
played.
a lot of people don't know. A lot of younger people don't know how to do that because they frankly haven't had the practice. And I remember as a young person figuring out how to network, especially in our business, because that's kind of a crucial skill you have to have. And I was thrown into the fire. You know, I started my journalism journey in high school back in the 1900s. And there was this program that I was a part of in Detroit that was for Detroit area high school students who wanted to learn about journalism.
Mm-hmm.
And NABJ was in town, and she made us put together a resume, which, you know, was very thin at 16 years old. Yeah. And we had to go up to people randomly at NABJ, hand them our resume, and explain who we were. So I had to go up to people and say, "Hi, my name is Jemele Hill. I'm a junior at Mumford High School, and I want to be a journalist." I had to do that no less than 20 times. Wow. And for a 16-year-old, that's frightening. Yeah. But it is that trial by fire is what taught me how to network. And so she talked a lot about how we should be making conversations with recruiters and getting to know them and giving them our resume and being vocal about what we wanted to do and that kind of thing. So I learned that at that age, but that's not being taught to a lot of people. So having a class like that is very advantageous.
Well, I'm curious too. When you talk about this, and like 16 years old, I think about my experience. I love talking to people. I'd be like, hey, how are you? I'd walk up to anybody because I didn't know any better. I'm
actually surprised at this, Cari, because you don't like people. So
I did, which is why I don't like people now. So I did it so young. You know, that was the thing. I just stopped liking people after that. But I did have another question. When you were putting your resume together, this one is really interesting. You said it was thin. Now, did you, since it was the 1900s, was it on a stone tablet, and you had to?
Yeah, I did. I had to chisel it out at least a week in advance. Yes, I had to chisel it out, and then I had to use candlelight to etch it into the stone, and I had to carry it in a dolly because, you know, it was so heavy. So I can pass out my stone tablet resume.
I have a gentleman in my abode currently while we're doing this podcast.
Oh, that sounds juicy.
If you heard, and I don't know if you heard him laughing. His name is Coscarelli.
Yes, it's Coscarelli. I know probably people listening were disappointed. They were hoping that it was Shalon King. But
no, it's Coscarelli. And, you know, he came over this morning to help set up the home setup. We're not quite there yet. We're getting there. But I opened the door and I was like, come on in, because I had a little bit of drama, and I'm going to let you all in on my drama. It's not real drama, but living in New York is a different experience. And, you know, in California, everyone has, I don't know, apartment living is different in California. I own a home and you own a home. So we don't necessarily interact with people unless we choose to. However, it's a shared space. Everything is so tight here in New York. And my neighbors, I'm whispering.
I was like, why are you whispering?
Just in case they can hear me, because I don't want no drama.
Okay.
So my neighbors who live next door, they have children, and they would always leave their shoes. And this is not unusual for people. They leave their shoes outside and they leave the bike outside. You know, it's just like a shared front porch. Now, I don't want to pay for that. I don't want to pay for a shared front porch.
Okay. And this is a hallway though, right?
This is a hallway.
This is not
right?
an actual porch.
This is not an actual porch. It's a hallway. And so I came home the other night and I said no. I just said no and no more. So I wrote a nice note and I was like, hey, do you mind? And I'm telling you this because my best friend Kendra, I read the note to her and she was like, first of all, she was like, I think that's a lovely note. But apparently I said in other ancillary items, if you could remove the ancillary items.
Oh, because you used the word ancillary?
Yes.
And she thought it was that. See, now, then they're going to say, oh, so now she's trying to act like she's more educated than us by using the word ancillary. I'm picking up what Kendra was putting down.
And she's like, you've been educated on them. And I was like, well, I don't know. It was just the word that popped in my mind. And I was I felt bad about it because I was kind of a little passive aggressive. Like one day they had all their shoes out, not even neat. Like, it's like they kicked their shoes off and ran in the house. And I'm like, yo, I can't. I don't know. And so
people aren't afraid that somebody would steal the shoes.
Oh, no, it's not that kind of building, Jemele.
Oh, it's not that kind of, but it is the kind of building
Detroit.
where you just leave your fucking ass shoes outside.
Well, they feel safe. People's $1 million strollers these strollers be $1 gazillion. And so they got their stroller. And I was just like, oh, but I get it. You don't want to go down and put your things in storage. But here's my point. If you don't want it in your house, why do I want it in my hallway? Like, if you don't have, it's just not fair.
You have a legitimate beef. Okay. Yes, you do, because I would not love that either. I wouldn't want to be stepping over people's shoes or just want the aesthetic of just items strewn about. Strewn about.
All the things.
Yes, I wouldn't want that either. However, I have watched enough neighbor wars and seen how these disputes can get out of hand. And when you use words like ancillary, you asking for beef. You asking for beef. Because you know what? They read that and said, you know what? I don't know what that word means, but I'm going to take it as a sign of disrespect. Because you throw a ancillary on me, I'll be like, oh, she want to go.
She want to fight.
She want to tussle.
Wants to tussle.
I'll be like, yo, Miss Ancillary, what you want to do? If I'm your neighbor.
Yeah, wow. Buffy, our producer, just wrote in the chat, you should take a pair every day.
Oh, stealing the shoes. Buffy, that's actually a really good idea. Just steal the shoes and they won't do it anymore.
Well, I wrote the note on a Saturday. I wake up.
That you are still whispering is sitting. Are your neighbors big? Like, are you afraid they're going to come in there and start some problems?
Start throwing around some furniture.
Right.
I'm not ready. I don't know. The thing is, I just don't want any smoke. But the reality is that I'm like, enough's enough. I've been here for a couple of months. It's like, come on, guys. Like, I tried to be nice. At one point, I started straightening their shoes, letting them know, like, if you could move them, that'd be great. And then they did.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah. But then when I wrote the note, I left my apartment Saturday morning, like, picking open the door by like this much, like a half an inch. And I'm just like peeking around, making sure, because I would have been so disappointed if the bike was there. They had removed the bike. But a part of me felt bad because I wrote the note and I'm like, well, should I take it to management? And I thought it'd be an issue if I took it to management. I don't want to make it that big.
Okay. So I was like, you going full CIA on it. Full op. You like, I'm going to go to management. Cari, I truly understand. I mean, you've been to my office and studio. And every time I'm here, I have an issue with people parking in my spaces. And because it's some kind of junkyard or it's a few businesses I'm next to. And people think that my parking, because I have 3 parking spots that are all mine that I pay for. And people, just like I came in this morning and it was a car parked in one of them. And I try to be nice about it. I'll give you one time if I see the car and I will write a note and say, you are not authorized to park here. And see, I'm a little more aggressive in my tone on the note. And I say, if I see this car here again, I'm towing it. And I've told 2 or 3, I think I've told 3 people because, listen, you ain't paying for this. And actually one person I've left a note to, they wrote me a note back and said, hey, is it possible for me to pay for parking? And I'm thinking like,
no.
First of all, this is not a parking lot. This is not a paid parking lot. Like, I don't even want that responsibility, because then when you don't pay, and then we get into a confrontation, then you're gonna see me on the news. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, just park where you belong.
Park where you belong. Put your shoes and your bike where you belong, where it belongs, right? Like,
put your shoes and your bike
this
and
is
your
not
car
community
where
space.
It belongs.
Where it belongs.
Where it belongs. I'm going to stop whispering now.
Okay, because I feel like I'm going to see you on an episode of First 48, and I'm concerned. I'm deeply concerned that you have to whisper in your own apartment.
I know. Well, I don't want them to hear me shit talking them, is what I'm suggesting.
That's what I knew what it was. I was like, you are being quiet. Because should your voice carry, because I know in New York apartments, your voice does. It could carry.
Yeah.
But you know what this means, though, is that from here until the rest of the time that you're there, you have to be the perfect neighbor. Like,
for sure.
You can't step outside of bounds, because they wait.
For sure. No,
like,
they
as soon as you do some shit, they reporting you to management.
Tattletale, the hall monitor energy. By the way, this goes with your whole theory that I'm a hall monitor.
That you really an op. See, now
I'm really an op. Oh my God, I didn't know.
You didn't know. I know you didn't know. I told you. I know when a teacher leaves, they make you in charge of everybody person, and that is you. You were the.
I'll do it.
Yes,
Mrs. Beltran.
Right.
I'll do
they
it.
didn't even pick you. You used to volunteer.
I'll do it, Mrs. Beltran. I'll do it.
Yeah. And then when she asked for participants in the class, you was the first one to raise your hand.
I'll do it, Mrs. Beltran. Thank you. Do you want me to pass out the paper? I'll get the erasers, Mrs. Beltran.
Oh, teacher, help her head ass. I knew it.
You're so jealous.
Yes,
oh, you're so jealous. I will say this weekend, I did get an opportunity to go to the Gotham game to see the ladies play, Gotham FC.
Nice.
It was really, really nice. It's a Sports Illustrated Stadium in Harrison, New Jersey. As you know, they are the champions. They do really well. This, it's just too far. It's too far. They need to bring the stadium.
Move it closer.
They need to bring it closer. I got to see some of the players. Jonquel Jones was there from the Liberty. I saw Ari.
Did you get a chance to talk to her or not?
But yeah, me and JJ, we good. We good.
Okay.
We good.
All right.
We talked about. I saw a lot of people. I saw a lot of. Spike Lee was there. Believe it or not.
He is, he is everywhere.
He's a
hardcore all sports fan. So he will show up for sure.
He will. It was really nice. I really enjoyed the event. It's a good family fun environment. The kids have face painting outside. It's very family friendly. I think the problem is that they have to get more people involved. And that's why it was opening night. So that's why they had a lot of people come out and they invited a lot of people. So to get people talking about it, a lot of influencers, that's the whole new thing, the influencer of it all. But it made me want to ask you this question, because the talk of the town was this bachelorette story that we posted a clip of that went viral.
Yes.
With
you talking swinging of it all.
Yeah, the soft swinging of it all. So I don't know about you, but I'd like to explore more about this here soft swinging issue.
Oh, okay.
You go first.
Oh wait, hold on, you just put that on me. I was like, ma'am, I wasn't the one that brought it up. What would you like to explore about soft swinging? What are you telling us, Cari?
We assumed that these ladies people who participate in soft swinging, that they were not telling the truth. Like, they're just waist up. Okay, I'm going to stop. Right.
It just sounded unbelievable.
Apparently, it's what it is, Jemele, at face value.
I also heard other disturbing things about, frankly, how the Mormons get down. And I was like, wow, you guys, please seek therapy. Please go see that lady. And I'm not here to down anybody's religion, but when it comes to sex, because there was something else they said called soaking. Listen, you don't even want to know.
I do.
It's like soaking.
Do want to know,
aka planking. It's like a whole
yoga. Like when
yes, it actually is like how we come to think of a plank, but it's a man and a woman, and there's no penetration involved. And even I just heard about something about people jumping on the bed to simulate the movement of sex, but not actually sex. And it was all very disturbing. And I'm just like, people, go see that lady. please go see that lady before bringing this to the universe. Yes. And so it's the soaking, planking, and the soft swinging.
It's technically doing everything but sex. It allows them to participate in a way so they don't feel overtly guilty for sinning for having sex.
Oh, but here's soaking. Here's the
caveat. It's a viral, controversial term referring to rumored sexual loophole among some conservatives.
But you see the loophole though, right? That there is insertion, but you know what? I'm not going to even say what just came to mind. Put it this way, people. If you've been a young person exploring your own sexuality and sexual desire, you have played this game before. That's all I got to say. And you know what that game is.
Just the tip.
Right. See, I didn't want to say it. See, Cari, I knew you were going to say it. I was like, I didn't want to say it. I was trying to be a Christian this morning, and now we talking about soaking. I didn't even know that's what it was called.
First of all, you brought that term in. I just was curious about the things it's crazy what's happening out in this world.
This world is wild. It
clutches pearls.
Yeah, I would have never known any of these terms if not for Taylor Frankie Paul and her utter triflingness.
Jump humping?
You made that up.
It's right here. It's also what
is that the one where they jump on the bed and then
that's it to simulate sex.
People just do it. I mean, God don't forgive you. I promise you. God don't let it go. Like, don't even do this. Don't do this to yourself.
The amount of organizing and activity, but it's probably just normal. It's probably normal conversation. They know what it is. Mm-hmm. If you think I'm not, okay, never mind. Never mind. I have so much to say, and this is not
right. I know. It's so much here, but it just reminds me again, just being a teenager and thinking about all those times, and especially like not every teenage girl.
All those times, what, Jemele? You little fast ass little girl. All those times, what?
Well, just saying, I had a little high school boo, and this is the things that you could have. We all made this pledge. Not everybody, but no, because some of us made the pledge of like, I didn't
have. That was me. I didn't have a boyfriend in high school. You know that. I was scared.
Yes, I do.
Boys.
Yeah, you were.
Shockingly.
You were very mately.
Pure.
Yes, you were very pure.
Made up for it. Thank you.
Yes, and I was like, I started my track to heathenness.
Early.
Junior, senior year-ish.
I'm going to tell your mom. I bet you
she already know. I told her what happened. Yes, I did. But she told me to tell her, so I told her. Don't tell me not to say nothing, and then I say something. And she was actually very happy that I told her. So yeah, she was
judging you.
You listen. Well, I'll tell you off air, but you won't judge me for that, because again, me and my mother, we actually did have like very open, honest conversations about sex, because she had me when she was 18, and one thing that was a big goal of hers is I'm getting you out of high school, without getting pregnant, and I'm going to give you all the information that you need. And so sometimes she gave me a little too much information where I was like, I don't need to even talk about all that, because I plan on waiting, Mom. That's what I told her. And it was
look at you now. Look at you now.
It was a lie.
Look at you now. Yes. Look at you now. She's proud of you. Despite your heathen behavior. This is a story, and I'll wrap it up. Jemele is a perfect example of how you can be a heathen in high school and still make something of yourself.
You still can.
Don't be worried.
So stop stop all them crazy activities, people.
No need to
you're soaking and you're jump humping and you're
jump humping and you're soaking and you're soft swinging and you're landing and you're moving and you're burking.
Just say to yourself, the Lord knows my heart. That's what you tell yourself.
Amen.
God, amen. The Lord knows my heart. All right, Cari.
So we got a guest, Jay. You going to introduce our guest?
We do have a guest. I'm very excited about this just because we had a lot of conversations about the WNBA and them finally agreeing to terms and all of that. But we didn't know the particulars. And so today we have somebody with us from Front Office Sports, Annie Costabile, who will explain, and I hope I'm saying her last name right. I will ask her when she gets on here. It's
Yeah.
Costabile. I'm pretty sure that is correct. So,
Costabile. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Costabile. See,
Mm-hmm.
there you go. Correct me. So we had a lot of discussions about the WNBA agreeing to a new labor agreement, but we didn't know the specific details. We didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. I mean, some of it through some reporting, but Annie has been there. She's been reporting on this. And we have talked to her before as well, because then we talked to her. She interviewed us.
She interviewed us, the week of our pod. Yeah, I think
the week of our pod.
Starting. Yeah.
Yes, correct. So we enjoyed our conversation with Annie so much. We wanted to make sure that we had her on Flagrant and Funny, but also to add more context to this new WNBA labor agreement. So without further ado, Annie is joining us right now.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, drum dun, roll, dun. Please. Hi, Annie.
Hello, Annie. And I apologize for butchering your last name.
It's okay. I just learned that my family is from Naples, Italy, so I really can't even be upset when people mispronounce my name because I didn't even know where I was from.
Wait a second. Are we getting a new Bob situation here? Oh, no. I was like, did she have a Bob? Look at you.
No.
I thought she had a Bob.
It was behind my hair.
Excited. As I was asking.
I did have a really good bob in my 20s. I'll have to send you a picture because it was iconic.
Okay, I like it. Okay, well, listen, congratulations on all your hard work. That means, and the reason why I'm congratulating you is because I think you did a really great job. You and a handful of other beat reporters were staking out the negotiations, and I think I woke up at maybe, I don't know, 6 a.m., 5 a.m., and you were just getting home. And I was like, it was something crazy. And I was like, listen to that dedication. Look at that dedication. And you were happy about it. You were thrilled. And I was like, I love it.
Dude, I don't know if I was like thrilled or just kind of like out of it, but I had no idea what I was signing up for. So it was kind of like a blind excitement. You were like, yeah, we got to stay happy because we don't know when this is going to end. But thank you. That's really sweet of you. It was honestly pretty enjoyable now that it's over.
See, I thought so. Okay, so this interview, Jemele, I don't know about you. Yeah. I want to get the BTS. I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know what happened. Like, were you and fellow journalists getting drunk while waiting? Were there fights that we didn't hear about?
Right. Yeah. What was going on? That sounds like a reality show.
We want the reality of it all.
Listen, I'm a real girl, so I can give it to you. I will give you all the behind. Are we recording now? Because I'll get into it.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, this is the show.
Good, great. Yeah, it was. It started off like any reality show where vibes are high, everyone's like meeting each other, and you're wondering who's going to end up with who's going to fall in love, who's going to hate each other. But the vibes are high, right? Right. Yeah. You can't really tell. You're just like, ooh, we're all here for the thrill of it. And then by day 3, I will just say, actually by day 2, my attitude started to come in. I'm a Libra, Aries rising, or Aries moon, excuse me. So I've got a ton of fire in there. And by day 2, I was like, you guys, like, what are we doing here? Are we all on the same team? I'm like, because we're not all on the same team. You guys work for this place. I work for that place. Like, I'm here to win. I'm here to compete. And so by day 2, it got a little fiery. There was no drinking on scene afterwards. Yes.
When you said you got lots, she was like, when you say you got fiery, what does that look like? Were you like, I have to get the beat, I have to have the exclusive? What is that? Was there elbows thrown? Talk to me.
Yeah. So again, like, I'm really competitive. My therapist has said it's a problem, but I think it's something that drives our careers, right? And so I've always leaned into that competitive nature I have. And so in this specific setting, when there's no separation, like there's 4 of you and you are to a degree working together to make sure, when the players come down, we're getting comments from them. We're working our best to get Kathy to come down and like, there was a component of it where we were in it together, but then by nature, I'm like, wait a second, we're in this together, but how can we be in this together when at the end of this, one of us is going to break this story, right? And to me, that's what drives me is like, getting exclusives, getting breaking news, like getting sources to trust you with sensitive information, all of that sort of stuff. So in the back of my mind, it was just such a mind fuck. Can we swear on this show?
Yes, you can swear. Okay. Go right ahead.
Sorry. It was just such like a mind fuck because I was like, I love these people as people, but I am in this to break this news at the end of the day. And so I don't have an easy time kind of masking my emotions. So at a certain point, I was like, guys, I just had to be real with you. Like we are competitors. I remember just saying that out loud. We were, having a snack moment. And I'm like, okay, I know it's all kumbaya, but for me, this is in the back of my mind and I need you guys to know it. And so that's where like my struggle was because I have a hard time lying about what's going on in my head and I have a hard time not being competitive. So I had to be kind of upfront and like with my aggressiveness.
Well, but you know what, Annie?
For better or worse.
Everything you said makes me miss being a beat reporter because I was a beat reporter for almost a decade. And especially I covered Michigan State football and basketball. You're with, what people have to understand about the beat dynamic, you're with the same group of reporters. You are covering a labor agreement. So like you're seeing the same faces every day, hour after hour. And it is this uneasy relationship between, these are people that, generally speaking, you respect, you understand the nature of the work.
Yep.
And it would be the same with my beat colleagues. It's like we were fiercely competitive. We're all trying to get our scoops. We're all trying to have side conversations with our sources. And then that night we're going to dinner and we're having drinks and we're having a good time. And it's just kind of what it is, but it is an uneasy relationship. With that being said, considering it was so few of you who were on the ground, a big conversation that was had was the fact that the person who broke the story about the agreement was Shams Charania, the NBA insider for ESPN. Now, I know you broke news too. You broke it about I believe, the number of years the agreement was set forth. But there was a lot of people, some of them non-reporters, some of them just fans who follow the league closely, who noticed the fact that the day-to-day reporting, you guys were providing that, but the big scoop went to somebody who wasn't even there. So what were your thoughts about Shams being the person who broke the story?
Yeah. I have many. I have a funny story with Shams too, but I don't know if this is a place to share it. But
oh no, it's a place to share it. Go right ahead.
Okay, so I'll just share this little story I have with Shams. So back a couple years ago, Teresa Weatherspoon was being interviewed for the Chicago Sky job, and I obviously was still on the beat covering the Chicago Sky, and I had been like locked in on this story, you guys. I had been like, every moment from the time they started interviewing her, I had the updates. I was like, okay, here are some other candidates they're talking to. After a while, I figured out it was really like only Teaspoon that they were targeting. And so when it comes to kind of that final hour, the decision's going to be made, I had started to get texts of like, okay, we're coming down to the wire. Like, this is looking like it's coming together, but nothing concrete. I go to dinner with my girlfriends. I turn my phone over because I'm having like a come to Jesus moment. I'm like, oh, I'm so zen. I'm so, not addicted to my phone. I can turn my phone off for an hour. 10 minutes later, I look at my phone. I have 50 missed notifications. They had hired Teresa. And so I look and Shams had tweeted it like a minute before I got my text. So like it went to Shams and then it went to me. And so a couple weeks later, I'm at a Bulls game and I see Shams and I'm like, he has no idea who I am. We haven't met. And I go up to him and I'm like, Shams, Annie Costabile, nice to meet you. I'm like, oh, I had no idea you were covering the WNBA now. And he's like, oh, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, the Teaspoon news, you broke that news. Like, this is so great. I'm so excited to have you on the W beat, like daily now. This is going to be so great to have your voice, your reach, like welcome to the W. And he was like looking at me like, what the fuck? Because obviously I know he's not coming into the W full time, but the reality is he does have these sources that look at him and look at his reach and they value that. And I don't know how you could argue against that because he's worked extremely hard. He obviously deserves this platform. You don't just get a platform like that overnight, in my opinion. Like, this man has bust his ass. So you got to respect that. But I think for him, like, if you're going to dabble in the W, dive all the way in, bro. Like, join us. You know what I'm saying? And so I can't knock the hustle because I myself, I like, you got to pay respect to the hustle. But I think it says more about the sources who are willing to, again, go to someone with this giant platform versus people who've been on the ground, to your point. And the other thing I'll say to this too is, like, I've heard so many sources talk about lifting up women journalists and like, oh, I want to, I want to make sure like the women in this space, like their brand continues to grow, their careers continue to grow. And then I see them all go to the guy with the bigger platform. And so you can't really knock the hustle. It's all, everyone's got an agenda and you got to respect it.
Well, that's a very mature attitude. And listen, it certainly has happened to me before numerous times in my career where you're putting in the work and you know that you basically have to put yourself in the mindset. If I get news, if I'm second to somebody like Shams or when he was in the game, Adrian Wojnarowski, then that's a win for me, right? And so, but I did feel, I feel both sides of it. It's like on one end, you're a reporter, you're putting in the work. And if I were a beat reporter and if I were on the ground like you guys, I'd be mad as fuck. And I would frankly let my sources know that. I wouldn't put it on Shams. All he did was what he's supposed to do. But my sources, they would know, like, so next time you need me to do something in terms of breaking a story or you want to plant some information, think about that when that big story came along and you ran your ass right to somebody who wasn't putting in the work and frankly won't, because his focus is the NBA.
And respect to you, Annie. Like, I just want to say this, Jay. Respect to her walking up to him and be like, oh, welcome to...
Right. Respect to you for saying something about it.
And you're right. It's not his
fault.
Jay, it's not his fault. Mm-mm. But her point is, are you here or are you not here? Are you here just to deliver the big news or are you here to be a part of what we're doing? And no, he's not, obviously. Yeah. But the reality is that you're saying, and he understands how this game works. Like, the battles that he had with Woj were legendary, right? He understands how this game works, but I understand why you would have been pissed. I would have been livid. You're like, I'm trying to have this Zen moment. That's also something that I don't think people even take into consideration when things are happening so quickly and you're being fed so much information and you're trying to casually, you don't have a life. Like, that's why Woj was like, I got to take a beat. I don't have a life. Like, it's too much. It's really a tough ask, but you're doing it with so much grace. And I appreciate you being competitive because there's absolutely zero things wrong with being competitive. Like, you get to do that. What I wanted to ask you about was I had bumped into JJ. I was said earlier on the show that I was at Gotham FC. And I said, are you happy? Are you, how do you feel? Are you happy? She was like, no, we're really happy with the deal. I feel good about it. She was like, people were trying to, sow seeds of dissent among us as if we weren't trying to get it together, but we figured it out at the end. I want to know if you have any insight on who, or was it there really a break? I've been hearing that there were disagreements, spirited conversations among the players and the PA, and and the league. And I want to know if there was some division. Was there something where someone said, "Yo, you're not doing this right"? Because at one point, NECA had came on this show, and and then there were Stewie, the letter that Stewie and Kelsey wrote, and I'm like, wait, what's really going on? Are these people? Are they at odds?
Yeah, I think it's such an interesting conversation because the truth depends on who you're hearing it from. And when it comes to any argument, right, whether you're arguing with your partner or your mom or your friend, it's always like their side of the story, the other person's side of the story, and the truth. And so when it comes to labor negotiations, I was part of a union with the Chicago Sun-Times. And these things get really tense. And we weren't even negotiating for money to this degree, right? Like, the journalism industry, as you guys know, is a tough one. And so we were just negotiating for raises. We were negotiating for very small things. And so when you have money on the table to this degree, it's natural that there's going to be inflection points and disagreements. And does that mean there's true divide? I think you can debate that, right? Now, what you can't debate is the fact that a very real letter was sent by two, not only leaders within the union in terms of Kelsey Plum and Brianna Stewart being members of the executive committee, but these are two faces of the league. Like, these are two superstars in the league. And they directly called out executive director Terry Carmichael Jackson. So that's something that you have to take at face value in terms of, in their own words, they expressed displeasure with how negotiations had been handled. Terry obviously responds to that and emphasized that that was part of the league's tactic, was to sow divide within the union by, again, stalling and delaying the negotiation period to a point where players started to feel that stress. So what I always say about this is argument is natural. Like, just in general, I think we need to be more encouraging of like women arguing and not like, oh, does this mean they hate each other? Like, we talked about this when I interviewed you guys. And this is one of the reasons why I just have always taken what you two have said and taken it to heart, because you've emphasized points like this. And one of them being that, again, women can argue and it not be the end of the world. And so when you're talking about a negotiation, of course, there were varying opinions. You've got a group of over 144 women that are fighting for a deal that's not only going to change their lives, but the lives of everyone coming up behind them. Like, if you think it's going to be all kumbaya, you're out of your fucking mind. And so I think, yes, there was, of course, division at certain points. That doesn't mean that division was problematic in my opinion.
Okay. That's fair. Like, of course they argued and of course they didn't agree, but it wasn't problematic. At the end of the day, they all wanted the same thing.
Yeah. And I think how you get to that end result is by having pushback, is by having varying opinions, is by having voices confident enough to say, I don't agree with you on this. I need you to hear me on this. And I need us to move forward from this, And so that's my opinion on it.
Well, now that we know some of the specific terms in this 7-year CBA, which they can opt out after 6 years, some of these things are, obviously it's a huge salary increase. That's a part of this. Something I know that was clearly important to the women. But you have housing that will be provided for all the players for the first 3 years of the deal. The fact that there's expanded team staffing requirements. Now, former players, they'll receive I think it's a $50,000 payment and then a $100,000 payment, depending on how many years that you were in the league. Looking at all the terms now that they've been finalized, can both sides claim a victory here?
I love this question, and I've been asked it a lot over the last week. And what I keep saying is I'm a healthy cynic, and I think it's too, maybe it's not too early to claim for both sides to claim wins, but I think it's too early to assess how this deal will truly impact the league this season. And I say that because what we saw happen last time, we heard, the same kind of shtick of like, this is transformational and this should be celebrated. And it was at the time, but it was very quick that we learned how the deal impacted, the middle tier of players and just certain hurdles that were very, very clearly showed themselves. And so with this, obviously, the 7-figure salary, Supermax salary, is worth celebrating, but let's not get it twisted. This is a PR win for the league. And what I'm saying, like, think about how long this league has been dragged because it couldn't pay A'ja Wilson $1 million. And now A'ja Wilson is going to get $1 million. And we're all supposed to just like, hurrah, yay. It's worth celebrating, but I'm just saying we need to have a healthy amount of skepticism as well. And a critical approach to it as well. This is historic. That can be said. That's factually correct. But, I don't know if I'm
more
being too much.
like there's about time. Let's celebrate it, but it's about time.
Right. It's that very much is kind of my, again, opinion on this, because it's there was such a huge gap between where the past CBA is and where this one is, that it looks like this incredible win. And again, factually it is. There's a lot of history in this CBA that we could dissect and pick apart. But there's a whole nother aspect to it of like, okay, we got here, but how long has this league have these players been fighting to get here? You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know if that makes me a hater or like, too negative, but I just, I want to celebrate it while also being critical of it, because there are going to be areas where we can be critical of this as well.
Well, but that's fair though, Annie, from this sense is that when you negotiate a contract, you have to think about what the back end looks like. Because right now, this is basically a catch up. This is not with where this league is going, because honestly, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm reading this right or thinking about having that healthy skepticism that you're talking about, if they're in year 5 of this deal, and let's say the WNBA continues to explode the way that it is, this is going to look like a bargain for the owners, like nothing. Because if we right now today have franchises like the Golden State Valkyries that are valued at $500 million, what is that going to look like 5 years from now if this league continues this trajectory? Is that a fair way to see this?
I think that's a totally fair way to see it. And I was having this conversation with someone before the deal got done. And I'm like, the reason the league is the league's approach now, everyone keeps talking about the next CBA. I'm like, but this is where the league can get their big come up. Because if they max out at $1.4 million, that's the super max salary, which again is so amazing. I truly am not trying to diminish that. But to your point, 5 years from now, where these valuations are, how the league continues to expand, that is going to look like a drop in the bucket. And all these owners are going to be celebrating the fact that this period, this 5, 6, potentially 7 year period, they got to rake it in before negotiating the big one. The next one is going to be the big one.
Huge. Okay, wait, Annie, I'm. What is the rev share? Everyone's talking around that. What's the exact rev share?
20% average over the life of the deal. Yep.
Over the life of that deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Here is my question to you.
Yep.
And I have been asked this by so many different people. How long before Cathy Engelbert is no longer there? Because I figured that she was going to oversee the deal. And there is a clear disdain for in regards to her when it comes to the players. I also believe that that business-wise, she can point to some wins, and she can point to, if she had to say, this is what I've done for the league, things that look great. But it's also timing. She hit at a really good time. I'm curious if you believe the league is happy with her. I'm not asking you to speak for the players because they have said so off the record, on the record. Do you believe the league thinks she will guide these players through at least this CBA?
That's a layered question, because when you talk about the league, you're talking about so many different people, right? You're thinking about Adam, you're thinking about owners, you're thinking about executives. And to be honest, the opinion varies. I've talked to a lot of sources within the league, owners specifically, who have concerns about Cathy, going back to the 16% stake sale for $75 million. That at the time was looked at as this celebratory moment outwardly, okay? But there were a lot of people inside that were like, this is a mistake. And so it's my opinion that the deal getting done does not fix all the issues that existed beforehand. And I think leading up to this deal, there was a lot of speculation, serious speculation about her future. And once this deal got done, there would be a transition of power. And I don't think that this deal getting done changes that. I think that when you look at Cathy's tenure, it lines up with the idea that there could be a transition of power, in the near future.
That's what I've been hearing. And I've also been hearing that there are a few names that are already being thrown out. But if you're just covering the league, what type of leader are we looking for? Are we looking for, and when I say that, in your opinion, this isn't that it has to be factual, former player, someone who played in the league, someone who is closely coached in the league, closely associated with the league? Do they take someone with the business mind like they did before with Kathy? They've tried a few various ways over the years, and nothing sticks. Right? The commissioner stays in the NBA forever, and I've noticed they at the WNBA they're switching them out.
I know.
Every so often based on philosophy. So what philosophy, one, is the NBA looking for? And two, what do you think? Those could be two different things based on your reporting and what you've been able to cover. What kind of leader does the league need?
I think this league needs a leader that is going to work side by side with Adam, not be a step below Adam. And I know that's a lot to ask because, again, this league was founded by the NBA, was, obviously brought to life by David Stern. And so in a lot of respects, this is looked at as the partner league or the baby sister league to the NBA. But if that's how you're going to treat it, that's all it's ever going to be. And so you can't expect this league to truly reach its full potential, to maximize its value, if the leader of the league is responding to the leader of another league. Like, Adam, if you want to control the WNBA, then just say, I'm commissioner of the NBA and the WNBA, right? Like, quit playing games about it. But I think when it comes to this commissioner role, it's not even so much about, obviously their background matters. And I do think that business background matters. But I think more than that, it needs to be someone, and Adam needs to make that concerted effort to put someone in a position of true power here. And that brings up a whole nother conversation, which, like, I could go down a rabbit hole here with the ownership structure of the WNBA. Mm-hmm. As long as the WNBA has this 42%, 16%. So 42% owned by the NBA, 42 by the WNBA owners, and now 16 by the capital raise. Like, this diluted or it's just, it makes it so hard for this league to truly maximize its value because of its ownership structure too. And so even if you talk to executives, coaches who've been in this league forever, what they'll talk about is, it's not that the league is, done something brilliant over the last, 10 years, 5 years, but you just now have people in jobs in this league that want to see this league succeed, that aren't in these positions because they're trying to get to the NBA, or they're treating it like, an afterthought. If you treat this league like the little sister to the NBA, that's all it's ever going to be. And so whoever the next commissioner is, whenever they come in, they need to be somebody that's empowered to take this league and make this league what the NBA is, not the second tier to the NBA.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And one thing that I've noticed, and I know we have to let you go in a moment, is Adam Silver. It seems to me that he has really escaped a lot of the criticism for how this league wound up in the position that it's in. And that's not to say that it's all negative, but certainly the way it was under-resourced. And as you mentioned, being an afterthought to the NBA, that part of this has escaped him being, sort of criticized for this. So when you think about where the league has to grow, and frankly, some of the reasons the setup is the way it is, how much responsibility does Adam Silver bear in this?
I mean, I think he bears majority of the responsibility. You're the leader, and you, through every step of this, have communicated that in various ways, right? Never outwardly, but it's always been communicated in various ways that Adam, at the end of the day, is the voice of all voices. And so I think what we struggled to do with the WNBA is hold two truths at the same time. Mm-hmm. David Stern deserves a lot of credit for making this league a reality, right? Adam Silver deserves a lot of credit for ensuring, it continues, and again, carrying on David's plans for this league. But the other reality is there have been missteps along the way, and that deserves scrutiny too. And I don't know that there's been enough of it, rightfully put on Adam through this.
Why do you think that is? Why has he been able to avoid a lot of the criticism?
Because I think he does a really good job at keeping the separation like visibly, or publicly, right? He's the commissioner of the NBA. We don't really see him in the WNBA. It's not like he's holding press conferences regarding WNBA news, or he's not really at the major events throughout the year, the tentpole events, the All-Stars, the finals all the time. He's kind of like this ghost figure who isn't consistent enough, but everyone knows is like the puppet master behind it all, right? And so I think he gets to evade and escape that way. And again, through this next era of the WNBA, it's like either step into the light fully, Adam, and be that voice that everyone behind the scenes knows you are, or be the man that everyone knows behind the scenes you are, and the person who's the decision maker, etc. Or hire somebody who you can fully allow to to take this league to the next level. I think it's got to be one or the other.
And you have spoken a word. Jemele, do you have a collection plate?
I know that's right. We need to give anyone, because she is definitely coming here preaching.
Preaching.
Sure.
And the best part of interviewing you is that you're unafraid, which is our language.
That's right.
You guys, fearless is our language.
I know I said this when I interviewed you guys weeks ago, but like truly, I learned to be this fearless by following you guys. Like Jemele on Twitter, I really like.
Oh, she stays
I always
on it,
leaned into my voice because I'm like, okay, if Jemele and Cari and others are like this, like there's a place for us to be like this too. So I appreciate you guys so much.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Society is, we're getting them there, Annie. They're still slow. They don't like when us ladies speak up. Apparently we're not allowed to do it.
Or argue.
Not often.
We're not allowed to argue.
Or be competitive.
We get to do it 5 times a day. Right. Yeah, you get 5 times a day that you get to do it. And once you hit that limit.
You hit your limit, you're done.
You're done.
Thank you so much for reporting. So needed and valued. Your voice, your thoughts, your perspective. Keep doing a great job. And we appreciate you, Annie. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much, guys.
Ooh, Annie was such a treat, wasn't she?
She made some really good points.
Speaking that real, yes, she made great points.
She made some really good points. I like the idea of people actually, and no one ever says anything about Adam Silver. He's been able to avoid a lot of drama just in general and criticism over his entire career, which I understand. He leads in a way that is admirable, because he does stay out of the mess of it all. But even with the, like, I just think of some of the scandals the NBA has had, he doesn't seem to get a lot of criticism at all. And I think she's right. Like, whoever you put in place, let them lead. Like, they have to have a true voice. They have to be able to lead on their own. And they have to be able to take care of this league and make it its own entity. It can't be the little sister, which it probably will be because we live in a patriarchy. But still, the point being is I was really impressed with her perspective. And you're right about Shams. She talked about him breaking news. I mean, she's right. It's not his fault. It's the people who his reach is incredible. And he's the cool kid in the town. So he's going to get the stuff for now.
Yeah, I mean, that's just part of the game. Most reporters understand this. I'll say this also about Adam, why he's able to skate as much as he is because the NBA, there's this perception that the NBA is a, quote, liberal league. And I notice this happens a lot, is that whenever something is majority Black or Black faces are at the forefront, people automatically associate that with liberalism, which is interesting. That's a whole nother podcast. What
do you mean? Because the NFL has got mostly Black faces in it.
Because they see Black. I saw it happen at ESPN. Like, ESPN started being called woke when people like you, me, Michael Smith, Bomani, Dan Le Batard, Sarah Spain, Kate Fagan started being pushed more as being a part of this sort of new crop of ESPN talent. Then everybody labeled it liberal and woke and all that kind of thing, because frankly, being Black or being a woman or both is just seen as inherently political. Mm-hmm. And so Adam, because he runs that league, they look at the NBA as being the league that's progressive. And so he doesn't take a lot of the smoke because the perception is that the NBA is progressive. And so Adam Silver would never under-resource these women, and he would, you know what I'm saying? It's not true, because the NBA has corporate interests
more
and
than
corporate
anybody.
sponsors more than anybody. Like it's still conservatively run.
Yes.
And then it's just the fact that there's not as much media attention on the WNBA, so that scrutiny isn't there the way that it should be. But anybody who's followed this league since its inception 30 years ago understands very much where the NBA has failed this league repeatedly.
But I also feel like the NBA and the WNBA have a lot of similarities. They try to control storylines. If they don't like something you've said, they will call you and let you know in whatever way. You won't be coming from Adam. It might be coming from PR, but it's still coming the office.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or even I think about something as simple as Magic Monday.
Magic City story.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's
and
definitely
that's something like
an example.
But you remember how he came into this league? He fired Donald Sterling. He literally said, "You can no longer own a team because you are racist," and Donald Sterling had to sell the Clippers. That act alone probably gave him and probably set his legacy in this league as a liberal. It gave him a lot of currency, capital,
yes.
favor, all of the things. He did a hard thing in many people's eyes. And so, but to your point, that's why he's been able to, that coupled with many other things in terms of what the league looks like, I guess, with all these black faces. But she did a good job. I really was happy to have her. I'm really curious. What do you got going on for the rest of the day, friend, as we wrap this up?
I'm going to have to jet out of this lovely conversation because Mama has work to do, and I have some maintenance issues that need to be fixed.
You're not telling me what's going over there.
No, that's what I'm telling you.
What's the maintenance?
I just have I have a sink issue that needs to be fixed, so I'm gonna have to.
That's what they call it now. That's what they call it now. Got a sink issue, y'all.
I have
that
a
needs
sink
to be
issue.
fixed.
Okay,
sound like a bad doctor's appointment.
I have an issue with the electric sinks in my office, and
I
the
bet
person
you
is
do.
here now.
I bet you do.
Just because we spent the first half of this podcast talking about soaking and dry humping mattressing, I don't know what that was called.
Jump humping,
whatever it was. Jump humping and soft swinging.
Meanwhile, Coscarelli's sitting in my kitchen trying to drink all my wine because ain't no food in there.
He probably is. He probably back there drunk right now. Like, turn it off.
I'm tired of you ladies jumping on my case every day.
That's right. He's sick of your nonsense.
He's sick of
Carrie.
it. He's sick of it.
Yes. I also think what you should do is you should go outside of your door and just leave like 6 pairs of shoes. So that your neighbors...
I'm going to start leaving my hair on the door. See what they say.
Just leave it on the door now?
See what they think. You never know. I'm going to go and record my other podcast in about a half hour or so. And we might just call you and see how this electrical thing is working out.
Okay. It's a sink issue. I got to go let the people in, Carrie. So
I bet you do.
It was fun as always.